Unlocking the Mystery, Omission of Relative Pronouns. Hello, language enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into an interesting aspect of English grammar, the omission of relative pronouns. It might sound a bit complicated at first, but don't worry. We'll break it down, making it simple and engaging. Let's get started. Before we jump into their omission, let's make sure we're clear about what relative pronouns are. They are words like who, whom, which, that, and whose, and they are used to connect a clause or phrase to a noun or pronoun. They basically act like the glue that holds our sentences together. Here's a quick example. The woman who lives next door is a doctor. This is the book that I borrowed from the library. In both sentences, the words who and that are relative pronouns. They connect the information about the woman and the book to the rest of the sentence. We've got our heads around relative pronouns, so let's move on to the main theme: omission. Sometimes, relative pronouns aren't necessary for the meaning of the sentence, and so they can be left out. This is common in informal English, especially in spoken language. Here's the rule. We can omit the relative pronoun when it is the object of the relative clause. Now, what does this mean? Let's take an example to understand. The book that I borrowed from the library is interesting. Here, that is the object of the relative clause, that I borrowed from the library. If we remove that, the sentence still makes sense. The book I borrowed from the library is interesting. The omission of that does not affect the meaning, hence it's permissible. Cool, right? Just like every rule, there are exceptions too. We can't omit the relative pronoun when it is the subject of the relative clause. Here's an example. The woman who lives next door is a doctor. In this sentence, who is the subject of the relative clause, who lives next door. If we remove who, the sentence doesn't make sense. The woman lives next door as a doctor. Incorrect. So, remember, we can't remove the relative pronoun when it's acting as the subject. And there we have it. This should clear up the mystery of omitting relative pronouns in English. Just remember, practice is the key to mastering any grammar topic, so make sure you create your own examples and try to spot these in your reading. As always, thanks for joining us in this language adventure. Stay curious and keep learning.